Chapter 6 Snæfell at Last. From our starting point, we could see the Snæfell's two distinct snow-capped cones that stood 5,000 feet high. We walked silently in single file, led by Hans, who ascended the slope on steep, narrow paths. As we traveled, I drew conclusions about how the island came to be. My thoughts suggested that Iceland was produced from the action of internal volcano fire. To suppose that the internal fire did not still exist was absurd. Nothing could be more absurd than to think that it was possible to reach the earth's center. I felt little comfort as we advanced toward Snæfell. The way was growing more arduous, the ascent steeper. The loose fragments of rock trembled beneath us. The utmost care was needed to avoid dangerous falls. Hans went on quietly. Sometimes he would pick up a few bits of stone and build them up into a recognizable form, making landmarks to guide us on our way back. 3 hours later, we were still only at the base of the mountain. There we stopped to rest and have a small breakfast. We then began to scale the steep sides of Snæfell. At some places, the elevations were impossible to climb, and we had to help one another with our sticks. My uncle was sure-footed and kept us as close to me as possible. He never stumbled. The Icelanders, though burdened with our loads, climbed with agility. From a distance, the summit looked too difficult to climb, but we were lucky to discover a stairway of misplaced stones that eased our ascent. By 7, we had ascended the 2,000 steps of this grand staircase. We had reached a bulge in the mountain, a kind of bed on which rested the cone of the crater. Then we encountered a storm and had to take cover from the severe winds and flying rocks. If it weren't for Hans helping us to safety, our mangled bodies would have been carried away to the bottom of the mountain. Hans did not think it safe to spend the night on the side of the cone, so we continued our climb. The 1,500 remaining feet took us 5 hours to clear. I could stand it no longer. I was freezing and hungry. I could barely breathe the rarefied air. At last, at 11 in the sunlit night, we reached the summit of Snæfell. The pale rays of the midnight sun shining on the land below were an awesome sight.